Hi, second grade friends. I'm continuing on with the magic trap. Here we go. The rabbits seemed to be okay. Remember how the dad forgot the rabbit in his trunk and it was really hot? So Jesse and Evan had the box. They're hoping to see if the rabbit is okay. So the rabbit seemed to be okay, although Evan couldn't help thinking that if Jesse hadn't said the word rabbit to their dad, the poor animal would have roasted alive in the hot trunk. Jesse promptly named him Professor Hoffman. He had snow-white fur with streaks of gray and a serious face, which made him look like a professor. The inside of his short, upright ears was the color of bubblegum. When Jesse and Evan ran to the back porch to tell their dad that the rabbit was okay, he looked at them strangely. Well, of course it's okay. Why wouldn't it be okay? Why do you two always worry about everything? Your mother, too. It's like you want bad things to happen. Sometimes bad things do happen, Evan thought, but he didn't say that out loud. He didn't want to sound as if he wasn't tough like his dad, who had been to war and seen really horrible things. Their dad hadn't brought any of the things you need to keep a rabbit. So Evan and Jesse did the best they could with what they had in the house. They lined a clean, large cardboard box with shredded newspaper and filled Evan's old Scooby-Doo cereal bowl with water. Jesse wanted to decorate the box, but Evan said decorations wouldn't be safe. Professor Hoffman might eat them. So for the next 2 days, Evan worked intensely with Professor Hoffman and Jesse to perfect the rabbit trick. At first, Professor Hoffman didn't like going into a wooden box at all. He would kick his legs and paw the air with his forelimbs, as if he were trying to swim up and out of the box. He's remembering when he was stuck in the trunk, said Jessie, trying to calm Professor Hoffman by feeding him some lettuce. She still wouldn't touch or hold him, but she liked giving him food. Don't feed him. He's supposed to be working, said Evan, trying once again to get the rabbit to sit still. After a few minutes, they noticed that he had pooped. Jessie ran screaming from the room, but Evan just cleaned it up with a paper towel, and after that, Professor Hoffman didn't mind sitting in the rabbit box anymore. On Wednesday, Jessie showed Evan the latest edition of the 4-0 Forum, and Evan had to admit it was terrific. The front page article was all about the magic show, and it explained that this was a show with a real live rabbit and an actual stage. The stage was almost finished being built. Their dad had bought enough 2x4s to build an arch, and he'd also bought yards of red velvet, which they draped over the top of the arch to form curtains. Evan could help wondering where his dad got so much money. And if he had that much money, why didn't he send more of it to them? I'm going to pass them out tomorrow, said Jessie as Evan handed back the newspaper. Are you sure Mrs. Overton will let you? Asked Evan. Mrs. Overton had not allowed Jessie to hand out her Valentine's Day issue of the 4-0 Forum. Too much love stuff. Maybe she won't because we're charging money for the show. It's like advertising. She won't mind. Besides, it's not just about the magic show. I've got an interview with Mr. Franks and a word puzzle and a huge article on the weather station. See? The whole back page. Did you know they're going to name this possible storm? It's called Tropical Storm Annabelle. Evan didn't care much about the weather. He just hoped someone would come to the magic show. He had almost perfected the appearing rabbit trick. It would be lousy if no one came to see it. In fact, he could use an audience right now. You want to see me do the trick? Yes, shouted Jessie, immediately jumping into her bed. Can I watch too? Evan turned to see his dad, who'd been gone for the last hour in the doorway. When he had gotten back, or when did he get back? How long had he been standing there? It made Evan feel nervous. His dad had always been good at sneaking in and out of places, but Evan had never quite been able to understand how he did it. Well, one of my professional secrets, his dad always said. Evan swallowed. He felt ready to have Jessie watch him perform, but his dad? What if he messed up? What if Professor Hoffman tried to kick his way out of the rabbit box when he was supposed to be gone? But his dad didn't wait for an answer. He walked right in and lounged on the bed, resting his head against the wall. Evan straightened the prop table so that it was facing his new audience. He took a deep breath. "And now, ladies and gentlemen," he said in his booming voice, "for my final illusion, I will make a rabbit, a live rabbit, appear out of thin air before your very eyes." He waved his hands at the rabbit box on the top of the table. "As you can see, I have an ordinary wooden box, and the box is empty." Evan opened the top of the box and waved his hand around inside to show that the box was empty. "Now, I will take this silk handkerchief," Evan had borrowed one of his mother's scarves, "which he draped over the box so that the front was covered, and voila!" He lifted the scarf, and there was Professor Hoffman sitting in the box, his pink nose twitching. Jessie clapped madly, and Evan's dad nodded his head in approval. "That's a great trick," he said. "You performed it very well." Evan knew that he was supposed to act very casual. Magicians never lose their cool. But he couldn't keep smiling. It had taken him 2 days to learn how to rest his hand on the box, release the secret latch with his pinky finger, and lift the scarf all in one motion, as if he were doing nothing at all. He was glad that his dad was seeing him perform the trick now instead of yesterday, when he looked clumsy and anybody could have guessed the trick. "But," his dad leaned forward, "I thought you wanted to make something disappear as your final trick." "Yeah," said Evan, reaching into the box and taking Professor Hoffman out. He liked to give the rabbit a piece of carrot every time he did a trick correctly. But it's way harder to make the rabbit disappear than it is to make him appear. "Yeah, I bet. That's what makes it such a great trick, right?" "Oh, he's pooping," said Jessie, pointing to Professor Hoffman. "Oh, Jessie, stop making such a big deal," said Evan. "So he poops. He's a rabbit, for Pete's sake." "I wish he didn't." "Yeah, well, he'd be dead if he didn't, so that wouldn't be so great." "A dead rabbit? That would definitely spoil the show, huh?" said their dad, laughing. But Evan didn't think it was so funny. "Hey, put the rabbit down and come here and see what I've got in the back of the car." Evan put Professor Hoffman in his large cardboard box, and then she and Jessie followed their dad out to the driveway. It was starting to rain. Big, sloppy, hot drops fell from the murky gray sky, and Evan thought of Mrs. Overton's warning to keep a weather eye out. "What is it?" asked Jessie as the three of them pulled a long cardboard box from the back seat of the car. Evan had the sudden thought that it was the size and shape of a coffin. There were 5 or 6 different labels on the box, some of them written in an alphabet that Evan didn't know. Evan pointed to one of the labels. "What kind of writing is that?" His dad glanced at it and then back over his shoulder as he maneuvered the box up the front steps. "Do you know people from India?" "I know people from all over the world," said his dad. When they got the box in the kitchen, their dad carefully sliced it open with his Swiss Army knife that he kept in his pocket. With each slice of the knife, another side of the cardboard box fell away until they could finally see what lay there. A rectangular wicker basket about the size of a small bathtub. "What is it?" asked Jessie. "Do you know?" he asked, looking at Evan. "Wow," said Evan. "I've seen a picture of one of these in Professor Hoffman's book." Their dad looked at him strangely. "The rabbit has a book?" "No, different Professor Hoffman," said Evan. Evan ran his hands over the top of the basket. "It's got a fake bottom, and you flip it over." He grabbed hold of the top of the basket and turned it on its side, but the bottom stayed where it was. "It's broken," said Jessie, pointing at the opening. "No," said Evan, "that's the secret. That's how you make the person disappear, because then you unhook this other side." He reached inside and ran his hands along the top edge of the box until he found a small metal latch and unhooked it. The side of the box fell open and covered up the missing bottom. Jessie frowned. "I don't get it. I want to see the picture." So she ran to get the book. Here's a picture of the basket that makes a person disappear. I wonder if he's going to use it. I like to stop and great spot, so we'll have to wait and see. Bye, everyone.